I mean, we're probably going to get copyrighted for how this intro is going to start. But I mean, it was said best, and it was said best. I mean, hello, darkness, my only friend. I mean, it's getting closer and it's here again. I don't even know if that's the right lyrics, but I mean, what an absolutely just awful, absolute awful week for for myself, for Brandon, for Raider Nation, for Niner Empire, for Houday Nation. It was an absolutely terrible week. So you know what? What's up? What's up, everybody? What is up? Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. And we have a nice little surprise for you this week to somewhat substitute a certain category because, as the season's rolling on, I mean, some of these performances haven't been ugly. They've been surprising. Wink, wink, cough, cough. That might be what we talk about. But yes, welcome to The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. Yes, it is NFL Week number 3 review, where we are going to be discussing all the good, all the bad, and the ugly / surprising, I ruined it, surprising performances from this past week in the NFL. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, NFL Week number 3. It is time to review. We had some NFL action this past week, and man, oh man, was some of it just absolutely depressing. Just absolutely depressing. And I mean, if these teams hold your mental health in your hand, I mean, some of these teams are just dancing on it. They're just dancing and laughing on it. I mean, they are really messing with your mental health. I mean, I had a rant last night about that performance, and I couldn't even release it. It was just straight slander. It will never see the light of day. But I was furious. And you'll get a little bit of that. But first, hi, how's it going? I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. And as always, joining me, he is the other half of the Sports Guys. He is none other than one of my best friends. He is Mr. Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you said it best, depressing week. I think it was depressing for you, myself, my friends, everybody we know. It was just a rough week, and I'm pretty glad that rant did not see the light of day, because I already know how upset you were, and you definitely when your emotions are involved, a lot of things can come out, and the truth does come out, but sometimes it's not what you intend. So I think, like you said, we'll get a little bit of a preview of that on today's session. But man, I'm glad that we have this outlet, because I have some things I want to get off my chest too. But excited to get into it this week.
I love it. As always, what we do to start our show is we always review how we did this last week. So let's put it up on the screen. Yes, that's what you call a bounce back week. I mean, yeah, we kind of know how to pick games. We've been doing it for 3 years now. We have a 65% overall correct picking rate. So I mean, we know how to pick games. We know how to rebound. We're not gonna get upset about one bad week. So yes, as you can see, both of us 10-6. Both of us 0-1 on our guaranteed victories. Yes, I did forget to call the Bengals as my guaranteed victory last week, but they were. And they, as you all saw last night, they let me down. They let me down massively. And then, of course, Brandon's guaranteed pick, the Buccaneers, taking on the Denver Donkeys. I mean, the one time I'll say this. The rookie quarterbacks in week 3, they started to show up. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels. So we'll definitely get into that. But yes, 0-1 overall for the season. That is going to put us at. There we go. Back on the positive side for yourself, 26-22, 1-2 though on the guaranteed victory. So you're taking some risks this year. I like it. Generally, you like to play it kind of close to the chest. You don't like to risk it that much. This year, you're risking it, right? Last week was the Buccaneers. I like it. For myself, 25-23, 2-1 on my guaranteed victory. So the Bengals let me down last week. But like I said, solid rebounding week for our picks. Let's wipe those off the screen. And I mean, that's how you do it. We're just going to get right into it. So, my friend, what good did you see from week number 3?
Yeah, I'm going to try to rattle these off, get through these pretty quickly because we got a lot to unpack here. I thought there was a lot of good this week and just as much bad. So starting off with Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets, they look supreme. 24-3, 2 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, 281 yards, no interceptions. Aaron Rodgers coming back to the quarterback that we all know that we saw in Green Bay. We knew it was a matter of time before he was going to come get back into his groove, and just impressive. Aaron Rodgers, coming off that injury last year on week 1. We knew it was going to take a little time for him to progress off that injury, but New York Jets, the defense, stout, stepping up. So huge win. Good for the Jets. They had a really rough week 1 and they bounced back and they're now 2-1. So
I like it.
And then also the Green Bay Packers, a good week for the Green Bay Packers. Malik Willis surprising everybody 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
200 plus pass yards, 73 rushing yards. He kind of looked like Michael Vick out there. When Mike Vick started his career, a lot of rushing yards, a lot of passing yards. Green Bay Packers, they're staying in the mix in the NFC. They're keeping it competitive. So we all thought, I think everybody thought, as soon as Jordan Love went down, there was a lot of question marks. And Malik Willis, we had previews of Malik Willis in Tennessee. We didn't really like what we saw. We had conversations about that last year. So he's coming through.
He's coming around. I like
obviously
it.
One of the best goods of the week, Minnesota, Sam Darnold. 34-7, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Obviously, you have Justin Jefferson who's making plays. Sam Darnold, 8 touchdowns on the year already. Who would have thought? I mean, he was a backup quarterback for San Francisco last year. He didn't get much playing time. When he did play, we didn't see a lot. But I think being in Shanahan's system, I think going behind Brock Purdy, who is just a workhorse. Sam Darnold kind of said it. I think when they mentioned it during our game, Sam Darnold stated that he learned a lot from Brock Purdy's preparation. So good for him. And they compared him to a lot of the other quarterbacks. He is young, 27 years old. So he's not, he's not the journeyman that, that people would think he is. I mean, it feels like he's been in the league for a while. But I think that the New York Jets really did him dirty. So Sam Darnold, good for him. I'm actually very happy for him because that's a good story, and he was a pretty good dude for us. So he was a good backup to Purdy, and he was in that quarterback room. So I'm glad he got another opportunity. And 34-7, pure domination against the Texans. I don't think anybody thought that. And can you say the resurrection of Andy Dalton's career? The journeyman amongst journeymen, your previous guy used to play for your Cincinnati Bengals. And he got him to the playoffs, maybe not a playoff win. There was some flashes with Andy Dalton, 319 yards and 3 touchdowns. Andy Dalton. Going into Las Vegas after Las Vegas just had a very big emotional victory against the Baltimore Ravens, and just coming in and just, surprising the world. And you were not surprised at all.
No,
I
was not.
The Carolina Panthers. You thought that they would win. Our good friend Dylan said that the Las Vegas Raiders are now 0-5 against Andy Dalton. Such a weird stat. But And then to finish things off, the best good of the week, Buffalo, pure domination.
Yeah.
Josh Allen looking like an MVP, 4 touchdowns. DeMar Hamlin gets his first career interception. James Cook and Khalil Shakir are solid pieces to the Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills puzzle. Can they keep this going? We will have to see, but those are my goods of the week.
I like it. Yeah, I saw some goods as well, right? The G-men, right? I called it. I knew they were going to beat the Dukies, right? The G-men going in, right? They're handling business, right? And what's so funny is people want to say Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback, right? He's terrible. He's horrible, right? He's destined to be a journeyman. Well, for all you folks out there, I want you to look up Daniel Jones's stats through this time in his career, and I want you to look at Trevor Lawrence's stats through this time in his career, and you tell me if Daniel Jones is a worse quarterback than Trevor Lawrence, because I'll spoil the fun. These stats are almost the exact same. And Trevor Lawrence gets this generational talent, right, tagline towards him. And Daniel Jones gets this guy who needs to be run out of the building. So, Daniel Jones can get the job done. Malik Neighbors, welcome to the NFL, baby. What a performance. Not one, but 2 amazing touchdowns. I mean, if they can get that connection going, the Giants could definitely surprise people. It would be shocking. I would be shocked. I know Brandon would be shocked. I know most of the football world would be shocked. But it could happen. It could happen. This season's very strange. Right? The Giants getting a massive victory there in Cleveland. What else did we get? What other good did we see? We got, as far as the morning goes, right? Caleb Williams, throwing for over 300 yards, getting 3 touchdowns. It took him 52, attempts to do it. But at the same time, he was slinging the ball. He was absolutely slinging the ball. And honestly, that game turned into who doesn't want the ball more? Because at one point in the game, it was just basically, Anthony Richardson interception. Caleb Williams interception, Anthony Richardson interception, Caleb Williams interception. So it was a lot of back and forth football that way. But
Caleb only had 2. He only had 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, excuse me, but over 300 yards, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
So so he had 2 touchdowns. So a good performance, right? I'm not a huge Caleb Williams fan. I'll be honest, I am really not. But good performance overall by the rookie, and we'll see what happens. We will see what happens there in Chicago, but definitely a positive performance by your rookie, right? Then we had the Panthers. I knew it was going to happen. I'll be honest. The Raiders just do this. This is what the Raiders do. From Jamal Charles setting the rushing touchdown record against them. From Nick Foles, out of all people, setting the single-season touchdown record against them. From Jeff Saturday coming off the couch to coach a game and win. From Baker Mayfield learning the playbook in 3 hours and somehow coming out and still winning a game, to now Andy Dalton, the journeyman at this point. He is a journeyman, right? And he was on the Bears. He was on the Panthers, Bengals, and then he was on one more team. The Cowboys. He's a journeyman at this point, but comes out, still knows how to sling the rock, and honestly does not make that team look half bad. Does not make that team look half bad, right? It actually looks like the coach there actually knows how to coach. It actually looks like the players know how to play. The linemen know how to block. So I think we got our message that Bryce Young needs to sit down for a little bit, which is fine, which is totally fine. You're going to learn from a very good vet. You're going to learn his process. You're going to learn kind of what to do. It's not all on you anymore. So that weight's gone, right? So Andy Dalton's there. Let Andy Dalton do his thing. You learn, develop, and grow and get better. And then we'll see what you have when the time comes. So Panthers, great victory there on the road. We kind of knew it was going to happen. But, the Seahawks, man. The Seahawks are on fire. Watch out. Geno Smith, lasering the ball to his receivers.
On fire. The first 3 opponents are...
They're cakewalks, but hey, that's what good teams got to do. You gotta beat the people that are in front of you. You got to do it.
I just want to see it. I want to see it against Detroit. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
and I want to see it against the Niners, right? I want to see it against the Rams. I mean, they still got people to play. But so far they've been playing very well, right? DK Metcalf is starting off the season well. Geno Smith, like I said, I mean, the running. I mean, it's always a carousel of running backs there in Seattle because no one can stay healthy. So
I mean, the way I see it though is they beat a rookie quarterback in his first debut. So I mean, okay, and then they went to overtime with New England and barely won that game, and then they beat a Miami Dolphins team with no quarterback. So it's just, to me, it's I haven't seen anything.
Miami Dolphins need to get a quarterback, and they need to get one fast, or this season is kaput. And then what else do we see, right? The Ravens-Cowboys game. I mean, that was a good game. It was a blowout, and then it suddenly turned into an incredibly exciting game. The good for me was the afternoon slate. The morning slate was boring as hell. That afternoon slate, everything was a blowout. And then at the end, every game except for two came down to, or I say 3 out of the 5 games came down to pretty much one possession. It was insane. So good for the afternoon slate of games. The Lions, right? You called it. They're rolling back now. They rolled in Arizona. They got the job done, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good game. Jared Goff had a good game. Jahmyr Gibbs with that hook and ladder, beautiful play. I mean, that's the play of the week. Honestly, that play was gorgeous. So yeah, I mean, and then the Bills. I mean, you pretty much said everything that needs to be said about the Bills. But in my opinion, yeah, the Bills definitely had the best performance out of the whole weekend. So that'll do it for the good. Now, what bad do you got for me?
New England continues to struggle. They're really struggling the last 2 weeks, and of course they ruined my parlay and they beat your team, and then they're just disappear. They've just disappeared. So it probably comes down to the quarterbacking situation. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, I think it's probably a mixture of things. I just don't think that roster is very talented. They're a few years back. So I anticipate. I think we kind of anticipated they would struggle. I don't think that we thought they were going to come out 3-0 out of the gate. So I think we were all surprised by them beating the Bengals, and we didn't think much of them after that. So Caleb Williams, I will say this. I do think that he had a bad performance. The turnovers, man. Caleb Williams is a turnover machine so far. And he can't. Two touchdowns, 2 picks. I think he has 4 picks on the season, 4 touchdowns on the season. Critical turnovers that is costing his team the game. I mean, when you lose 21-16, you talk about those 2 interceptions. Yeah. If you don't throw one of those picks, do you win the game? I don't know. So you could have. And so Caleb Williams struggling, but despite 350 passing yards, 2 interceptions. Houston and Stroud taking a step back, looking really bad against Minnesota. Give Minnesota's defense credit. I said they were stout. I picked them in the game. Did not anticipate a 34-7 victory. I'm very surprised. I think everybody is. Minnesota is very difficult to beat at home. I mean, but if you're CJ Stroud and you're basically telling Caleb Williams, keep your head up, and you're going to be, you're basically big broing him. Think about it. Yeah. You come out and lay an egg the next week. CJ Stroud, what's going on here? I don't want to see a regression. I do like CJ Stroud a lot. They have a lot of weapons. Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs. They have weapons. They have a good defense. They have a good coach. I'm hoping that Houston can turn things back around. Tampa Bay struggling. Really looked really bad this weekend at home. And, they're going to have to turn things around, because you can't let a team like Denver come into your house and mollywop you like that. So Las Vegas getting embarrassed and falling for the trap game. It was a trap game. I think that none of them anticipated that the Red Rifle was going to come out and dominate. I don't think that the defense was showing up. They showed Antonio Pierce saying, we have to make business decisions ourselves. Because players made business decisions on the field. I think we saw a lot of just bad effort, not tackling, just bad quarterbacking, bad offensive play calling. I think everybody played bad in that Raiders game. I don't think there was anybody that that played well. So and then Miami, McDaniel, is he potentially going to be on the hot seat? Because here's my thing. You haven't done anything. And I kind of saw this coming. I don't think that he was ready to be a head coach. I just don't. You had Kyle Shanahan pretty much running the offense, and you're getting credit for it. I mean, give me a break. So, I mean, McDaniel, cool guy for sure. I think that he needed a little bit more time as an O coordinator. I don't think that he was ready for this. I think potentially he's going to be on the hot seat soon. I don't know what you think, but that's kind of where I'm going to leave it.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, that seat is definitely getting warmer, right? I mean, we could talk about hot seats next week, which I kind of like, right? What seat is getting hot, right? Mike McCarthy's seat. That seat's starting to heat up. And 12-5 back-to-back regular season. So, I mean, I'm not going to overreact, but that seat's starting to heat up a little bit, right? Mike McDaniel, that's a good one, right? That seat starting to heat up a little bit. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I did say, right, Dolphins need to make a move. They need to make a trade. They need to get a quarterback. I mean, that's where we're at. They got to go out and get somebody. If the Dolphins want to stay relevant, they need to go get somebody.
Go out and get Jimmy G. Get Jimmy G. I mean, he knows Mike McDaniel's offense. He's played with Raheem Mostert. He's played with some of these guys. Just go get him. Just give it a try.
Yeah, Adam Schefter threw out some good names too. I mean, Zach Wilson would be kind of a stretch, but he's available in Denver. Russell Wilson. I mean, my hot take in week 2, the picks was Russell Wilson will never see the field as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks. I'm not gonna go crazy, like I said, but it's starting to look like that. It's starting to look like that. So, and then there's Dorian Robbins Thompson, something like that, on the Browns, who's just sitting there, who was a viable quarterback last year when everyone went down, right? When Deshaun Watson went down, and then, obviously he got replaced by Joe Flacco. But, I mean, he is a good, viable backup quarterback, much better than Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. I'll just say that. What other bad performances? The Chargers, right? Now the question marks surrounding Justin Herbert's health. Right. And I think there was 2 offensive linemen also on the injury report. I mean, that's very, very bad for the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll see what happens with Justin Herbert and his ankle. That did not look good, right? He was never officially ruled out of the game, but he did not come back in, right? Taylor Heineke was there to step in. It's Taylor Heineke. He's going to take you as far as he can, right? Justin Herbert is the guy that can take this team to the next level. So that is a huge, huge question mark there in Los Angeles. And then we had the Saints, who, I mean, they got us. They fooled everyone. Saints midseason form. Derek Carr, midseason form. I will give credit where credit's due. That Philadelphia defense definitely came to play. They started off a little rough, but towards the second half, towards halftime and then into the second half, they started to step up. I mean, it was 3-0 until late into the third quarter. So, it was a very ugly game. I mean, bad. We want to talk about bad. Jalen Hurts was bad. He was not good. So Jalen Hurts is going to have to figure it out and figure it out quick, because Saquon Barkley ain't going to save you every single game. That's for sure. What else do we see? I mean, the Jaguars, man. I mean, the Jaguars, just awful. Just awful. They can't do anything. Offense, defense, special teams, they literally cannot do a single thing. It's terrible. I do not know what is happening in Jacksonville, but I mean, Doug Peterson needs to put on a hat and lose the visor, because change something. I don't know what it is. Trevor Lawrence, cut your hair, do something. I mean, you got to change up something, because right now where we're at, you guys go 0-4. I mean, kiss the season goodbye. You might have a good second half, but it ain't going to do anything towards the playoffs, right? So, especially with how competitive that AFC South division can ultimately turn into. And then lastly, I mean, the last bad I saw, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but the Titans, man. Will Levis is just not the answer. This is 3 consecutive weeks of meme plays. First one is the flick pick 6. The second one is the WTF option. And then the third one, he just got rolled up on like a donut. I mean, Bill Callahan has to be losing his mind. The Titans have all the talent in the world. Calvin Ridley Jr., DeAndre Hopkins. They have a great defense. They have decent other offensive players, offensive weapons, right? Okonkwo, I think that's how you pronounce it. The tight end. I mean, they have legitimate players. Will Levis needs to step up. And then lastly, give me your surprising for week 3.
Real quick, we've already touched on these. New York beating Cleveland. Very surprising. And you touched on this on the bad, but Saints offense struggling at home. That was very surprising to me. They always dominate in the Superdome. The Denver domination, I was very surprised by. Yep. And Monday Night Football, very surprised by that Cincinnati defense. It was like, I mean, they were just getting everything, man. They were just, I mean, 4th down at conversion after 3rd down conversion after. They could not stop anything at all. Just unfortunate.
First game since 1940 without a turnover or a punt.
Also a surprising stat.
First game since 1940 without a turnover or a punt. I mean, some of the worst defense you will ever see. Ever. I mean, what is this, the Big 12? Do we just have all offense, no defense? What am I watching? What was I watching? I mean, you know, luckily I've had a night and a day to wash, you know, just that game off of me because it was disgusting. And now the news that we lost Trent Brown for the entire season over a torn pectoral. I mean, what the hell is that about? Thank God for Mims. Mims came in and he did solid. I'm excited for the kid. I'm excited. A pick I was not too high on. Let's see what he's got. But he handled business when he came in against the Commanders. But we're losing against the Washington Commanders? We're not able to stop but 3 passes thrown by a rookie quarterback? And Cameron Taylor-Britt has the audacity to stand at his locker and talk crap about a college offense? I mean, there are very few times I agree with Shannon Sharp, but I agree. Bengals, shut up. Stop talking and just play the game. This is embarrassing. And for all you bandwagon fans who hopped onto the Bengals bandwagon during that Super Bowl run, welcome to being a Cincinnati Bengals fan, because this is what it's like. This is reality. This is what happens year in and year out. Joey needs to stop dressing up like Ellen DeGeneres, show up in a business suit and tie, get the goddamn job done, and get us a freaking win. Granted, yesterday was not on him. I did say that this was the game that Jamar was gonna go off and get like his welcome to the NFL, and that's exactly what happened. 2 beautiful touchdowns from Joey, and Joey did everything he could. I mean, over 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, there's not much more a quarterback can do.
Yeah.
The defense was atrocious. The defense was atrocious. What was equally atrocious was the 49er effort in that second half of the game. Brock can't do it all, folks. He can't play offense and defense. Again,
and special teams.
Our quarterbacks did their jobs, right? And special teams. Evan McPherson, you got your money. Stop missing field goals. Jake Moody, stop missing field goals. 55 yards. That's no easy kick. I mean, that's no easy kick for any kicker. But you make that kick, the game's over. Niners win.
Yeah.
You missed that kick, door was open. The Rams, they didn't knock. They kicked that shit down. And they ran in there. I mean, just pitiful performances by both our teams. I mean, Jauan Jennings doing everything he possibly can to elevate himself and his team and step in, right? So, just very surprising performances by both. I expected the Bengals to win. I did not expect us to lose, especially in that fashion. The defense was atrocious. Atrocious. Lou, you got to tighten it up, bud. Fix it. Now that we're done with the surprising, we have a very special surprise for you. Brandon has he's just been, he's been in his own lab there, right? As you can see in his apartment, he's been, concocting some ideas. He's been on the think tank. He's been, he's been testing things on his own. He's been, floating some ideas around. And we are very excited to bring you, and we'll continue to grow this, but we are very excited to bring you Brandon's best and worst. Yes, Brandon, go ahead, my friend. Tell the people what you got. Tell the people what they can expect. It's all you.
Yeah, moving forward, excited. We are going to give you and Jake will bring his next week, but best player of the week and worst performance of the week. I mean, now the best player specifically is going to be the player that we nominate, basically the MVP of the week. And we're going to tally those up at the end of the year, and we're going to give you our most valuable player, Sports Guy's Most Valuable Player Award. So excited about that. And the worst performance, that does not only have to apply to a player. It may apply to a special teams. It may apply to a coach. It may apply to a defense. It may apply to an offense. But narrowing the best narrowing the best performance down, that will be specifically the player of the week. And that player of the week, maybe a little biased, but Jauan Jennings, 3 touchdowns, just an amazing, spectacular catch, keeping us in the game. No one would have thought. I mean, he had over 40 fantasy points. The guy was just balling out. I love the grit. They obviously say the terminology is 3rd and Jauan. That's Brock's weapon on 3rd down, always going to Jauan Jennings. So just excited. 7th round pick to 7th round pick. Jauan Jennings, a Tennessee Volunteer, picked in the 7th round. Brock Purdy, obviously Iowa State. Everybody knows the story, Mr. Irrelevant. 7th round pick to 7th round pick. And our running back, undrafted. So, I mean, we have just some core weapons that are just deep gems that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan said we're able to draft. So, but now shifting gears to the worst performance, and that will be co-nominees of Ronnie Bell and Brandon Ayuk. Just combined for, I believe, 5 drop passes. Ronnie Bell, you gotta go. I mean, you're a 5th or 6th round pick. You're making, you all this hype in preseason last year. You're not good at kicking. You're not good at returning kicks. You're not good at catching balls. I've seen you drop more balls than anybody that I've ever seen on the 49ers, I believe. So, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really cannot believe it. And Brandon Ayuk, $30 million a year. I'm not going to be as harsh on Brandon Ayuk because, he's getting a lot more attention. And he did miss all of training camp and practice. So that did upset me, obviously. But Ronnie Bell dropping a crucial 2nd and 10 pass, Brock Purdy getting us down the field with a minute left, that would have essentially sealed the game. So just very, very disappointing.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, very, very disappointing performances from some guys that you absolutely needed to step up. I mean, quickly off the top of my head, my best performance to go to Josh Allen, I think, 4 touchdowns. Absolutely dominating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then my worst performance, I guess we could do a tie between Baker Mayfield and CJ Stroud. I think those two, did not have good games, right? CJ Stroud had that one garbage time touchdown. Other than that, it was 2 picks, right? Baker Mayfield really not able to get anything going. I mean, 163 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against the Denver Donkeys. What are you doing? I love it. And we will continue to add and grow because that's what we're doing. And that's going to do it. That is going to do it for this edition of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully, we've washed week 3 off. It's over with. It's done. We don't ever have to talk about it again. We're on to week 4. Thank God. And we'll continue to move. We'll continue to move forward. We'll continue to rebound. We'll continue to get better, right? I mean, and I'm speaking for our teams because that's what we need to do. Our teams, they must get better. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Just to kind of go off of what you said, obviously they got to come out better this week. I mean, you can't go down 1-3 and 0-4. It's desperation time. I know it's early in the season, but these losses do add up. So at the end of the year, this could change you from being 7th seed to 3rd seed. So 100%. we gotta be able to stay competitive in our division at least. That's the main thing. And the more we lose, the more we're not keeping up with our divisional opponents.
I love it. Yeah, I could not agree more. We got to stay competitive in our divisions. Our divisions are no cakewalks. That is for sure. So, come on, guys. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Put the axe to the grindstone. Put in a good week of practice this week. Get set up, and we'll get going. That's going to do it for this edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly NFL Week 3 review. We are done. We are done with it. Goodbye. Sayonara. Adios. See you later. As always, thank you so much for joining us. We super appreciate it. I am Jacob Cutler, one half of the Sports Guys. He is Brandon Sullivan, the other half of the Sports Guys. And until our weekly picks episode, Brandon and Jake, we're out.